Seems like everybody's in their place, situated, calibrated. How are y'all feeling after all those snow days? Finally actually back into like an actual rhythm of school and classes? Weird. I'm not a fan either. It's all good. We're all here. Can I have one of you lovely people read out the mission statement? Anybody? Oh, this one, please.
We provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth.
Nice. You did that. Okay, and without further ado, I'll have our president, Tyler, come up to the stage.
All right, and we're back. All right. So I see we have a few new people in the crowd, and also we've been gone for around 2 months now, which is kind of insane. So I'm going to go over some things about the meeting so that everyone can kind of refresh and learn about the structure and how we do things here. So first, I'm going to go over the sections. We have 3 sections. We have speeches, table topics, which is like impromptu speaking, and then evaluations of speeches. So today we have 3 speakers. If you're a speaker, can you raise your hand real quick? Boom, all of our speakers are here. And then we have table topics right after that. So if you're a guest or don't have a role, you might be picked to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. So just keep that in mind. And then for evaluators, if you're an evaluator, please raise your hand. All right. Oh, there we go. All right. And then we have reporters. So we have 3 reporters. We have All Counter, Ikra. Can you stand up real quick and tell us what the All Counter does?
All counters count all the filler words, all the ums and ahs and everything I basically said in the intro part of this. So, but yeah, so watch out for those filler words, kids.
Thank you. And then Romarian.
Should I say no?
Yes.
So, hi, I'm Enrique, and basically I'll be the grammar Nazi for today's meeting. Basically just making sure that you guys have proper grammar, use proper sentence structure, all that good stuff, making sure that you use a word correctly. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, and then we have our timer, Christopher Lee.
Hello. So basically, I'm just timing everyone. Green card means that your speech, whatever you're speaking about, is in time. And then the yellow card will be a warning that you should start wrapping up. And then the red card means you're going over time, so you should stop.
All right. And then finally, I'm going to go over our theme of the day, which is curiosity. So our table topics is going to be revolving around this theme, and as well as our word of the day. Oh, Enrique, can you also mention what the word of the day is?
Yeah, so the word of the day is autodidact. It's basically a person who acquires knowledge by themselves of their own volition without relying on somebody else from an educational institution telling them what to learn, basically. Yeah.
Thank you. So if you use this word during any of your speeches or table topics, we'll give you some brownie points and some snaps. So if you start getting some snaps from the crowd, that means you use the word of the day. All right. So without further ado, let's go right into speeches. So for speech 1, we have Zack, Varghese, one of our longtime members. He'll be speaking from an advanced manual, speech number 2, titled I Didn't Know. For 5 to 7 minutes, Zack.
So, I didn't know what a greaser was. And then I put on this outfit. And now I know what a greaser is. Because every single 5 minutes I would walk down Tate, I would walk into MLC, and everyone would be like, hey, yo, Pony Boy, when are you going to join the greasers? Hey, what about Brooklyn? What about pizza? And I'm like, you're just rattling off every single reference that you know about New York, and you're obviously from Georgia. And it kind of got sick after a while, so I was like, what is a greaser? Of course, I didn't know, so I picked up my phone, and I looked up on Google, what is a greaser? And in that, I'll become a autodidact, whatever that is. I learned it on my own. And tangent for my story, I don't get why looking up on Google isn't a legitimate response for all tests in the University of Georgia. I think literally every single time you apply to college, you can check off, have Google, and have 60 credits towards your degree. I'm campaigning for that. Please join me in my campaign. I know it can pass. Just saying. So, getting back to the point. I use Google a lot, like a lot. There's hundreds upon hundreds of searches on my Google widget on my phone, and that's only from today. And every single time I search, I get the filler response. And sometimes they come up with the most idiotic responses. I once was curious, and I looked up the world end clock or whatever that scientists use to predict the end of the world. Trump got elected and it was moved up like an hour. Not getting political, I swear. Cross my heart. And I looked up what is the world? Is the world? And the answer is round. Please tell me, is anyone here in the audience believing that the world is flat? Like, shut up. The government is not trying to cheat you out of a flat earth. Who cares? They're not making money from that. But I digress. People can be stupid. It just makes me harder to search Google stuff. I'm sorry if you're actually a flat earther. But, back to the point. Some people think having Google is a replacement for common sense. One friend of mine wanted to ride in a canoe, right? Ride in a canoe over a river, a very fast-paced river, and he wanted me to jump on board to this canoe. Just riding along with him. But he found this huge gash, like this big, in the bottom of the boat. And he said to himself, duct tape can fix that. And I said, you're an idiot. I'm not getting onto that boat if you don't have a proper canoe. So he Googles, can duct tape fix a canoe? And if you ever type in, can duct tape fix a canoe, it should just automatically bring you up to a page that says, you're an idiot. And then delete your account. Because honestly, you're going to end up on the bottom of a river. I digress. And he continued to go out of the boat. He continued to sink into the bottom of the river. And I continued to laugh at him from the shore. It was hilarious. But every single time he comes up to me with a stupid question, or a person wants to debate whether the earth is flat or not, look, I don't care. I'll just say my instinctive response. I don't know. Thank you.
So everyone notices they have a ballot in front of them. So if everyone can take a few seconds to fill out some comments for Zack, some things he did well, some things he can improve on, and then pass it into the middle to these little black trays in the center.
Which manual was he speaking?
He's speaking from the humorous manual.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
now move on to the next speech of the day by Josh Baker. It is from the Competent Communicator Part 2, speech number 1, titled March Madness. So, for 5 to 7 minutes, timer, 5 to 7 minutes, Josh Baker.
I'm a little bit under the weather still and a lot of it unprepared, so set your expectations low. Maybe I'll surprise everybody. If I was to have created the word of the day for today, mine would have to be alliteration. My month of March. Music, marathons, masters, madness, and the meantime. I'm ambitious. I'm always trying to improve myself in every facet of life. Every day I try and do 3 things. I try to learn something new. I try to do something that will put me one step closer to success. And I try to do something that will put me out of my comfort zone. For those of you who kind of got to know me, it's no surprise that I'm one of the most want to stay inside my comfort zone people there is in the world. And I've been trying to change that ever since I realized it. So, getting out of my comfort zone, I have a few major examples coming up here in the month of March, how I'm going to be doing that. First, music. I'm going to my first music festival. Talk about a bucket lister. I have a friend named Edward who literally launders money from his parents. His parents give him a ridiculous amount of money for groceries every month, and he goes to Costco's or Walmart and just gets eggs and ramen noodles, and that's like all he eats because he just loves these festivals and has to save up money for them. I've been telling him for a long time I wanted to go, and he's made some suggestions, but I never actually made it a point to do it. So now I've made a point to go. I'm doing it. We're going March 1st through 4th, Okeechobee, Florida. It's the full-blown music festival. It's out in the woods somewhere in Florida, like really good performers. Travis Scott, Pace Nectar, Hazley, I don't know how you say her name. I actually think she's awesome. Snoop Dogg is going to be there with a special guest Snoop Dogg is bringing, TBA. So it's going to be a good one. You know how everyone, no matter who, has like that little bit of hippie down, maybe deep down, but deep inside them, everyone has it. I'm just going to get it all out that weekend. Oh my gosh. I'm going to wear a bandana and a tank top, and I'm just going to get it all out and frankly return to being a southern, clean-cut businessman the rest of my life. But that weekend, it's coming all out. It's going to be awesome. But it's definitely going to be out of my comfort zone. I'm also doing a marathon on March 18th, the latter Sunday of spring break. Doing it in Atlanta. I've been a runner my whole life, but I've never attempted a marathon, never even a half marathon. I'm doing it with my lifelong friend Adam. So in 3rd grade, my friend Zack was having a party, neighborhood friend, and Adam's family had just moved in across the street. There were no proper introductions because we were in 3rd grade, so we were just playing football in the backyard. I had always been the fastest kid among all my friends, but I noticed this new kid, Adam, might give me a run for my money. So my formal introduction to Adam was walking up to him as the football game was winding down and challenging him to a race. I think I won, but honestly I'm not sure. I mean, he's a fast kid. He's actually done, like registered and legit done a half marathon, so he's a step ahead of me there. We ran 13.1 miles, the half marathon in Ramsey the other day, and he's definitely got me on endurance. I still got him on the sprints, but he's definitely got me on the endurance. We've been running about 5 miles a day, and we're about to bump that up. So definitely have a lot of ground to cover by March, but I'm enjoying it and definitely getting out of my physical comfort zone. So I graduated in December and I'm in grad school now doing 1 year in the Masters of Accounting. I've been very involved so far, and the director of the program suggested that I run for co-president of the MAXA, which is the Masters of Accounting Student Association. The race and elections are also in the month of March, and I think I'm going to do it. I'll be giving speeches to 150, 200 people that are in the student body. I've never really campaigned for anything before, so that'll definitely be a good way to get out of my comfort zone as well. In the second sentence of the speech, I used the word madness. That was sort of to summarize what I was, my whole month of March, but also it starts with an M, and I think everyone has at least heard of what March Madness is. For those of you who haven't, it's the month of March leading up to, or could be, the playoffs for NCAA basketball. I've never kept up with it, but people make these brackets and bet $20 buy-in, and there are so many teams that I think it's like, again, I could be totally wrong, but I think it's like 1 in every 5 years that someone actually guesses every team right, like every game. I've never done any kind of fantasy baseball or football or anything, and I love sports, so maybe I'll try that too this month of March. It's not really getting out of my comfort zone, but it's something new, something exciting. In the meantime, in addition to my studies, I have a lot of music to listen to. I downloaded the top songs of all the headliners that are going to be at this festival on my Spotify. Been doing that, and I've certainly got a lot of running to do, but I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Josh. So everyone take a few seconds to write some comments for Josh. We also have plenty of pizza, so if you guys are hungry, feel free to go grab some during these intermissions. It's good. So for our final speech of the night, we have Jessica Parks, who will be speaking from the Interpretive Reading Advanced Manual, speech number 1. It is titled Lessons from the Sneetches, which is a Dr. Seuss book. She gave me a quick intro for her. Yeah. The story of Dr. Seuss's The Sneetches really resonated with Jessica at an early age. It taught her that differences should not be celebrated and not hated. In a world with racism, sexism, homophobia, ethnocentrism, this story has strong implications today. Today, Jessica will interpret the story in her own style. So, for 8 to 10 minutes, Jessica Parks.
Okay. So basically, like you said, I read the story when I was younger, and now that I'm older and have a little bit more life experience, it has a lot more meaning to me. After I get done reading the story, I have a piece of paper that I'm going to hand out, and I can give it to you guys now because y'all will look at it and pay attention to me. I would do the same thing. Okay. The Sneetches by Dr. Seuss. Now, the star-belly Sneetches had bellies with stars, and the plain belly Sneetches had none upon theirs. No stars on their bellies. No stars upon theirs. Now, those stars weren't so big. They were actually, quite small. You would think that such a thing wouldn't even matter at all. But because they had stars on their bellies, all the star-bellied sneeches would brag. We're the best kinds of sneeches on the beaches. With their snoots in the air, they would sniff and snort. We'll have nothing to do with the plain-bellied salt. And whenever they met some, when they were out walking, they'd hike right on past them, without even talking. When the star-bellied children went out to play ball, could a plain-bellied child play? Not at all. You could only play ball if your bellies had stars, and the plain-bellied children had none upon theirs. When the star-bellied sneeches had frankfurter roast, or picnics, or parties, or marshmallow toast, they never invited the plain-bellied sneeches. They left them out cold, in the dark, at the beaches. They kept them away year after year, never let them come near. And that's how they treated them. Oh dear. Then one day it seems, while the plain-bellied sneeches were out moping and doping on the beaches, just sitting there, wishing their bellies had stars, a stranger zipped up in the strangest of cars. My friends, he said in a voice so loud and clean, my name is Sylvester McMonkey McBean. I've heard of your troubles and I've heard you're unhappy, but I can fix that. I'm the fix-it-up champion. I've come here to help you. I have what you need, and my prices are low, and I work with great speed, and my work is 100% guaranteed. Then quickly, Sylvester McMonkey McBean put together a very peculiar machine, and he said, you want stars like the Starbelly Sneech, my friends? You can have them for $3 each. Just pay me your money and hop right aboard. So they clamored inside, and the machine roared. It clomped, it bumped, it jerked, it burped, it popped them out, and you know, the thing really worked. When the plain-bellied sneeches popped out, they had stars. They actually did. They had stars upon theirs. Then they yelled to the ones who had stars at the start, we're exactly like you. You can't tell us apart. We're all the same, you snooty old smarties, and now we can go to your parties. Ugh. Good grief, groaned the ones who had stars at the first. We're still the best sneeches, and they're still the worst. But now how in the world will we know? They all frowned. If which kind is what and the other way around? Then came McBean with a very sly wink. And he said, things are not quite as bad as you think. So you don't know who is who. That's perfectly true. But come with me, my friends. Do you know what I'll do? I'll make you again the best sneeches on the beaches. And all it will cost you is $10 eaches. Belly stars are no longer in style. What you need is a trip through my star off machine. This wondrous contraption will take your stars off, so you won't look like the sneeches who have them upon theirs. And that handy machine worked very precisely. Removed all the stars from their tummies actually quite nicely. Then with snoots in the air, they paraded about, and they opened their beaks, and they let it shout, now we know who is who, and there's not a doubt. The best kinds of Sneetches are the Sneetches without. Then, of course, those with stars got frightfully bad. To be wearing a star right now was frightfully bad. Then, of course, old Sylvester McMucky McBean invited them into his star-off machine. Then, of course, from then on, as you probably guessed, things got into just a horrible mess.